Welcome to Slow News Day Live. I'm Steve Poikinen. I'm here in beautiful Boulder Creek, California, where the flannel shirt is our state flag, the pit bull is our state bird, and cannabis is our state flower. If you're familiar with the show, you know that a while back I took place in the epic day of live streaming for net neutrality. Put on that event at music festivals. If you guys aren't aware, since the Vegas shooting, and we can talk about that a different time. But since then, and as a result of facial recognition at large music venues has gone through the roof. Now, we've talked about how flawed facial recognition is before. If you just do a simple Google search of facial recognition and statistics, you find that overwhelmingly that upwards of 80 to 90%, sometimes 98% in the case of a study that they did in San Francisco, facial recognition misidentifies the person that they took the goddamn picture of in the first place. Those aren't good numbers, by the way. That's not good shit. If you go to banfacialrecognition.com, there is a petition. I don't know how you guys feel about petitions. You can do with it what you want, but I think that it's important to raise awareness on the fact that facial recognition is deeply flawed, incredibly Orwellian, super fucking creepy, and we do not need it at a place where we're supposed to go and relax and fucking have a good time, see a show. You shouldn't have to be like, well, at any moment my image could be taken and uploaded to any number of different government databases. They're going to use this for purposes of ICE. They're going to use this for warrant checks. If you've ever been to a concert, chances are you're going to find someone there who's got a warrant. I really hope the stream is not as fucked up as it is on my phone right now. Banrecognition.com. Let me, if I could restart that. Hopefully that works. No fly list too. Yeah, absolutely. So that's the other thing. So there's 3 cities that have banned facial recognition outright: San Francisco, Oakland, and Somerville, Massachusetts. Cambridge, Massachusetts is supposed to be next. Hopefully they will be. But airports, I don't know, because they're federal, I don't know if they operate under a different jurisdiction. They're not subject to that because facial recognition is implemented at all of them. I think it would be interesting to see how many content creators are on a no-fly list at this point. That would be because Ron and Graham are about to go to Australia, and I don't know if either of them have tried to travel out of the country since they've had a subversive political show on the YouTubes. I want to go mostly to the fact that tech monopolies, the Pentagon, the Department of National Intelligence, and the CIA are all getting together to help ensure election security. If that isn't a frightening thought. So last week, this went under the radar. I hope this catches back up. The live stream catches back up. Last week, through the radar, security teams from Facebook, Google, and Twitter. And I mean, this. Thank you, technology. All right. Security teams from Facebook, Google, Twitter, and Microsoft met with the FBI, the Department of Safety, and the Director of National Intelligence Office to coordinate a strategy to secure the 2020 elections. This is an article out of RT. I found it originally out of Blacklisted News, which is a site that kind of collects unreported stories. They're pretty decent. Back to the article, the tech platforms met with government officials at Facebook's Menlo Park headquarters on Wednesday. The company has confirmed, boasting that Big Tech and Big Brother have developed a comprehensive strategy to get control of previous election-related vulnerabilities while analyzing and getting ahead of the new threats. Back in, I think, May, maybe, Minpress News did an article about the potential merger of Microsoft and the Pentagon teaming up to form Election Guard, I believe, is the software that at the recent DEF CON summit was hacked in the hacking competition in Vegas. They got into that in minutes, like teenagers. There's a lot of quotation marks around what analyzing and getting ahead of new threats are. Facebook scrambled to get in front of the 2020 election after being blamed for Trump's 16 victory over merely allowing the Russian trolls to buy a bunch of ads, most of which appeared after the vote and had nothing to do with the election. But the company insisted last week it had tightened its rules for verifying purchasers of political ads for real this time, after the 2018 contest showed they could still be duped into running obviously fake ads paid for by the Islamic State terror group and Cambridge Analytica. You'll remember last week, I believe, when I covered on the show that DARPA, the Defense Department's R&D arm, DARPA came out and said that they're going to help social media, out of the benevolence of their heart, get in front of this whole like deep fakes thing and fake news and people who would, as they put it, sow discord, or as Jimmy Dore puts it, foment discord. DARPA said they would neutralize malicious content within 4 years on social media. This is the Pentagon's R&D department guaranteeing a 4-year moratorium on fake news. That would be news outside of the narrative. That would definitely be this show. It would definitely be RT, the website that I'm reading it off of. It would be all independent media that isn't owned and ostensibly operated by the 6 major corporations that own and control 95% of media. And now those guys, some of those very same people and some of those very same intelligence agencies want to guarantee election security. RT mentions Microsoft and the Pentagon here. The Election Guard software is being provided free of charge out of the goodness of Microsoft and the Pentagon-owned contractor that helped develop the program's heart. And if Microsoft's act of selfless charity doesn't convince a district their democracy is worth protecting, there's always Cyberdome. The election security nonprofit, advised by half a dozen former intelligence agency heads who want what's best for your vote. Cyberdome is a pretty freaking nefarious organization. What's that? Yeah, yeah. You are also this. Good to know. Cheers. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, Pentagon and Microsoft hackable election system. What could go wrong? Pompeo said he'll do everything he can to prevent Jeremy Corbyn from coming to power. It looks like Jeremy Corbyn is doing everything Jeremy Corbyn can to prevent him from coming. Gordon Dimmick's show a little bit this afternoon. And Gordon played a clip of Jeremy Corbyn speaking the other night or today, time difference, I'm not sure, very recently. And in that clip, Jeremy Corbyn made the crux of his case, or the case for labor, around tying Boris Johnson to Donald Trump. Oh, I'm live when Ron Pacone is on. Bummer. Oh well. I love you guys that are here. Thanks. I'll probably go see Ron in a little bit too. But Corbyn was trying to tie Boris Johnson to Trump. He was giving a rather neoliberal argument, centrist argument to advance the cause of labor, and it looked like he was pandering specifically to the people who were 100% Remain over in England. And Corbyn seems to be shooting himself in the foot a little bit, and I'm not. I understand that he wants Boris Johnson to take the blame for Brexit, but at least in like 2/3 of the nation that Corbyn is ostensibly trying to win to become prime minister, they don't want a stay or leave vote. I don't know. What I think Jeremy Corbyn is doing right now with the line that he's taking is okay. The line that Corbyn's taking right now is that it seems a little bit dangerous because he's alienating all of the Brexiters that are traditional labor voters. There's been a shift in consciousness as they've watched, even not necessarily Jeremy Corbyn, but his party certainly, and the Lib Dems, turn more and more into American style, small d Democrats. And yeah, the point that Gordon made is that Jeremy Corbyn could be beating the hell out of Boris Johnson every single day with "you need to free Julian Assange." Julian Assange is sitting right over there in Belmarsh prison, and you, Boris Johnson, are letting free speech and free press slowly be tortured to death and doing absolutely nothing about it. He could be doing that all day, every day. He could be pointing out that regardless of what happens with Brexit, the Tories are going to try and put the NHS up for sale. He could be doing that while defending Julian Assange, and he could walk away with this shit. But no, I mean, he's pandering to Remainers, and he's fucking attacking Donald Trump in a stump speech. If only there was a way for Jeremy Corbyn to find out what happened when you ran on the platform of Donald Trump is a bad man, and if you elect me, I won't be that bad man. I won't deal with that bad man. If only he had some sort of way to figure out how that played out. Fuck. Or Muska, do I always stream at this time? No, I don't really have specific times that I live stream. I've got a couple of jobs. I have 3 school-age kids. I have to split here in a minute and go to a friend's house because we're tending their animals. So I have a bunch of kitty cats to feed, and I have a hamster that I've got to try not to lose again. That was a panicky half hour. So I no, if you, the best way to figure it out, honestly, Muscal, like, subscribe, ring the bell. And then if you're on Twitter, I usually announce when I'm going live on Twitter. I am at Slow News Day Show. Thank you. I appreciate it. Biden, Warren, and Kamala are doing badly. But okay, but we've got election software that's being ran by Microsoft, the Pentagon, with the help of the Department of Homeland Security, the CIA, and the Director of National Intelligence. It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like that. I don't know. I mean, I've said this before. I've said this a lot. You can't expect the result that you want as a progressive or someone on the left by voting in a rigged system inside a duopoly, where the entire point of the Democratic Party is to be the fucking graveyard for progressive legislation and progressive ideals. If sheer numbers overwhelm at the polls, they'll lose those fucking votes. They did it in Broward County. Nobody could tell me, coming out of that 2018 election, where Tim Canova was shown to be in a statistical tie or beating Debbie Wasserman Schultz, that he got 5% of the vote all across the board. Okay, so there are policies worth supporting, and I agree with that. And I vote for ballot measures, and I vote for propositions here in the state of California. Local elections, I think that we have a little bit more of an influence with. But I think I think without heavy decentralized activism coupled with some planned events that are obviously going to be fucking infiltrated and co-opted, and you just roll with that the best you can and hope that fucking there's more of you than there are fucking law enforcement. That's how you do it. Like, deactivating yourself from government entities within your own community and finding ways that you can make your own community is a fantastic idea. Community gardens, no one has ever won any kind of revolution or transcended into a new form or style of governance on some fucking Funyuns. You got to grow food. There are certainly policies worth supporting, and there's certainly things that you should, always push your politicians to do. You can't have an organized and activated community without some sort of rent control. If everybody has to move every 6, 8, 18 months, every couple of years, you can't organize well, Redwood summer, so many protests, change things. So I think that's kind of what we're doing. Caitlin Johnstone has a piece up in Medium that I basically encapsulates what I'm trying to get across every time that I do a show. Um, and it's called How to Defeat the Empire. And she opens up with, talking about how she gets some shit um, about, are there solutions? What can we do? How can we actually do this? Um, And she says, part of the difficulty is that I don't talk much about old attempts at solutions we've already tried that people have been conditioned to listen for. I don't endorse politicians. I don't advocate starting a new political party. And I don't support violent revolution. I don't say that capitalism contains the seeds of its own destruction and the proletariat will inevitably rise up against the bourgeoisie. And in general, I don't put much stock in the idea that our political systems are in and of themselves sufficient for addressing our biggest problems in any meaningful way. I agree with that 100 and fucking 5 billion%. Like that, you've heard me say the same thing more than once. Um, she says what I do advocate over and over again in as many different ways as I can come up with is a decentralized guerrilla cyber against the institutions which enable the powerful to manipulate the way ordinary people think, act, and vote. And yes, absolutely. Um, I, I, I've said, yeah, I mean, I really, like that decentralized activism, fucking taking the media out and into personal, everyday one-on-one conversations with other people, going to a music festival and avoiding the facial recognition, but trying to have a conversation with someone you meet there after the fact. um Fucking talk about, like we have a lot of ways that we can interpersonally communicate with people and fucking bring awareness to the fact that we have a rigged system in more ways than one. We can't vote our way out of an oligarchy. We have to find a way to do this within smaller communities, keeping in mind that we're all a part of a larger community. Um, I To answer your question, Moose Gal, um, I think protest, genuine protest, has the ability to work. If 3.5% of the population unite and march behind a cause, and they don't have to all be in the same spot at once, but they do all have to be focusing on the same general structures with the same message. 3.5% of the population can move the needle, absolutely. What we have had uh basically since Barack Obama got elected and put the fucking left to sleep. What we have had are not protests, Occupy notwithstanding. What we have had are parades. What the Women's March was, with corporate sponsors and a fucking CNN stage and Tebby Wasserman Schultz allowed to speak. That was a parade. That was something to make people feel better about themselves because the bad orange man got elected. Greta Thunberg's parents, her dad's an actor and her mom is an opera singer, I believe, or maybe I have that backwards. But they're longtime hardcore environmental activists. They contacted Ingvar Resholm, I think. I'm saying that wrong, but the guy who happened to walk by Parliament when she was doing her one student strike thing. They contacted him a week prior because they knew each other through environmental movement circles. He the and was it We Are Out of Time is the organization that guy is in charge of. He was like Al Gore environmental movement trained, partnered with a couple of energy sector board, energy production, oil, gas, all that kind of shit. Partnered with them to form this We Are Out of Time. He is the dude that put her on Facebook and then in the newspaper, and then started this whole kind of viral campaign around her. That one student strike thing, by the way, what had happened was earlier in the year in Sweden, they had an essay contest to see what students, see if they could get a student-led protest, a student-led walkout, modeled after the ones that happened throughout the U.S. after the Parkland shootings. So they went into that essay contest trying to organize this. Greta, like, placed, I don't know if she won, I think maybe, I can't remember. I did a video on this just the other day. At any rate, she was the only one that wanted to do the strike out of the people that won the essay contest or placed in the top 5-10 in the essay contest. So she went and did the strike thing, and then the rest is basically history. I have said on this show a lot, and this may completely piss you off, Jilly. Green capitalism is not the answer to fucking globalist Zionist capitalism. It's not the answer to white supremacist nationalist capitalism. It's not. You can't line the same pockets of the people that have been causing all the problems with it, which is more or less what green capitalism does, while adding some dollars to some new technocrats, and expect there to be a result other than more exploitation. It'll be different exploitation, but if the climate science that is currently incomplete because it doesn't incorporate geoengineering, if that is even remotely true, and there's a 12 or 11 to 30 year span where we have this, maybe we could do something about it. Finding hip new ways to make a carbon tax palatable isn't going to do it. Hello, Road Cow. Let's take care of the planet and hold those who have destroyed it accountable. I agree with that. I do. I don't see how that is an outcome that we can get in this country electorally. I certainly don't think that's an outcome we can get to in this country by supporting the Sunrise Deal, the Sunrise Movement, Green New Deal. We already know that that's been stripped of anything actual green value besides the money it's going to generate for the corporations that had it sanitized before Jeff Markey and Ocasio-Cortez were allowed to deliver it. Yeah, that's a great point, Ms. Tree. The Pentagon, the war machine, our military is completely exempt from all U.S. pollution laws, all international pollution laws. We're the number one polluter on the planet, can do it consequence free, and no matter what kind of ridiculous bullshit nonsense greening the military plan Elizabeth Warren has, that's not going to go away until we are spending next to nothing on our fucking military. Hello, Grandma Christine. Green bombs, solar powered tanks, fucking hydro fuel cell hellfire missiles. Yeah, that'd be neat. Fucking, we live in a goddamn cartoon. Maybe we'll play this clip on Action for Assange tomorrow night. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. Do you remember Valerie Plame, the CIA agent who was outed in the New York Times editorial section as a fucking in retribution by Dick Cheney and Scooter Libby and those guys? She is running for Congress as an open CIA Democrat. She has this campaign ad out that I swear to fucking God was like produced by J.J. Abrams. It is. I really thought I was watching the trailer to some ridiculous new Netflix show. Yeah, Ambassador Wilson's wife. Yes. Yeah, it did. It looked like a car commercial. It looked like the preview for a fucking badass new series on the Bush White House on Netflix, man. And there's nothing in there about policy. There's nothing in there about like anything that you would expect in an actual campaign commercial. You didn't just this fucking car ad / fucking trailer for an action-packed fucking I don't know, fucking mini series. It was wild. Everyone says the same group of creeps have been running the world since Babylon. If this is true, let's get rid of them and spread the money, debt jubilee, and land giveaways. You know, there are a lot of people that do believe in like the ruling elite bloodline thing. You can put as much stock into that as you want to, really, honestly. We can prove that all of the presidents but one were related to each other in some way, shape, or form. They all share a common ancestor. I mean, I don't know. We live in a fucking cartoon. It could be just as likely that there's lizard people ruling the world as it is there are regular fucking sociopaths. It could be. Yeah. Cannabis sativa, one big club, and we're not in it. We are certainly not. Oh, I will absolutely take a weed pen. Thank you. Really? Thank you. Jacob's right there. Yeah. We're entering our ultrasonic weaponry phase. Wildlife kills. We're testing grounds. 5G. So I went into involuntary 5G for the first time back in April. And then it happened again when we went up to Napa for a wedding a little while ago. And it happened like a couple 100 miles closer. There's involuntary 5G right over the fucking hill from us. It's creepy as shit. If you ever happen by any of the almost like trade magazines or trade papers, but for the U.S. military, like the Air Force has a couple of different news outlets, Army, Navy, they're all talking about field testing and reporting back on handheld direct energy weapons or tank mounted direct energy weapons, when just a few months ago it was the ultimate fucking conspiracy theory to even suggest that direct energy weapons exist, even though since 2017 Lockheed Martin has had a goddamn fucking whole section on their website about drone mounted direct energy weapons. Yeah, well, I mean, the proposed military budgets are fucking here's the thing about documents. If they don't get spin put in them in the budgetary process. Like when you're just fucking line item requisitioning shit, that's all you get. There's no story. It's just the thing being purchased or ordered and how much it costs. Um, what blows my mind is we're now going to get into a rare earth mineral race, and we're going to try and produce the same thing as rare earth minerals uh, by fucking compressing coal ash. So we're going to have to produce more coal ash. Valerie playing the exposure, but they're still saying Assange killed people. Yeah, yeah. Um, if they say anything about Julian Assange at all, the I don't know if it's weakness or self-preservation or outright cowardice, or if they actually are so deep in the bubble that they believe the own bullshit that they say. But it will never not be frustrating just how little the US media is willing to say about Julian Assange, or when they do, how fucking manufactured out of whole goddamn cloth it is. Well, there's an entirely different set of laws for people at that level anyway, Jilly. I mean, are you talking specifically about the Joe Arpaio thing? But I mean, Trump is the same guy who said, let's go after the families of terrorists. Let's specifically invade countries for their natural resources. Um, and somehow had a problem with how hawkish John Bolton was. Like, Donald Trump may be a fucking addle-brained, early onset dementia, fucking multiple bankruptcies, bad business sense having fucking fool, but he's a successful con man, and he knows that he's not going to get himself reelected by listening to John Bolton and going to war in Iraq right before fucking 2020 hits, or Iran, right before 2020 hits. Getting rid of John Bolton was one of the few things he could do to get back into campaign mode with any kind of fucking credibility. Because Donald Trump, the campaigner, is an anti-interventionist. He's not the current president, who is, actively bombing 8 or 9 countries and has fucking a coup still going on in fucking Venezuela, and another coup that we've been orchestrating in Hong Kong, and another one we've been orchestrating in Nicaragua, and a fucking campaign in Africa that is ramped up massively under Donald Trump. Ron Paul investigated and found that WikiLeaks did not put anyone in danger. I'm glad Ron Paul's putting that out to his audience. It's accurate information, and his audience should have access to it. Ron Paul, I think, can reach out to people who still even vote Republican. The problem is Donald Trump wants to extradite Julian Assange. So if you're a voter, you're going to go along with your president over Ron Paul. No notification. Oh, well, that's so YouTube. YouTube has been seriously like fucking me over lately. My view counts are getting heavily suppressed. If you look at a video just on the screen, it'll say it has like a low number of views. If you click on the video to play it, that number of views will, in cases, double. If I go into analytics after the fact, the number is even higher. Not only that, but I'm getting people unsubscribed from the show. I watched this afternoon, 15 people subscribed to the show, and I go and look at the number, and it went down to from this morning. So that's happening, which I guess means that I'm pissing off somebody in the right way, but I'm pissed about it. I do have a Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/slownewsday and support the show that way. And it will at least guarantee that I keep putting out content. I don't know what to say other than that. I'm pretty sure this is a regular occurrence for everyone involved in independent media who is producing content outside of the narrative. It wasn't just John Bolton and Elliot Abrams, Philip. It was fucking Gina Haspel. It was Nikki Haley. It was like the calmest guy in the room was a motherfucker named Mad Dog. He's surrounded himself with not just the old George H.W. Bush cabal neocons, but brand new ones, like the current Secretary of Defense, who was a chief fucking lobbyist and on the board for Raytheon. Steve fucking Mnuchin, who wouldn't be here without the help of Kamala Harris. The idea that Trump was some sort of white hat or rogue or outsider is one of the most clever pieces of fiction that the American public has been sold about this guy. Another one is that he's some sort of unique, completely brand new monster, when what he does time after time is provide fucking cover and a distraction, while the traditional fucking tax cuts, deregulate, fucking blow up the market, tank the market, consolidate the wealth, bomb the shit out of brown people, fucking GOP agenda gets passed. There's nothing that has come out of the Trump administration in terms of a piece of legislation that is outside of what the GOP would do under any other president. The fact is, he's probably gotten away with more because the fucking because of the amount of constant distractions that we're subjected to. Look at what happens with with Trump's EPA, with fucking Ben goddamn Carson at Housing and Urban Development, Linda McMahon, the wife of the or ex-wife or whatever, fucking the guy who started the WWE, has a goddamn cabinet post. It's thinking that the swamp was going to get drained is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Yeah, I don't get notifications from pretty much anyone. I really don't. Yeah, there's huge protests in Hong Kong, Phil. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, man? A lot of them are waving American flags. Why? Why would they be waving American flags on the streets of Hong Kong? Why? Hong Kong protests are covered in the American media. We're going into 44 weekends of yellow vest protests in France and fucking barely a blip on the US media's radar. The only time you'll hear about it now is if one of the agent provocateurs gets away with committing some sort of act of violence. There may be a squirrel in the tree. Yeah, yeah. AG Barr, who covered up Iran Contra, is helping cover up Epstein. Yeah, I need to do another deep dive into what we currently know about Epstein. I will get on that this week. Tomorrow is, of course, 9/11. I'm gonna have Krish Mohan, comedian, on. That should be fun. Tomorrow night we have the Free Assange Vigil. Um, I know for a fact that Jason Burmis will be on for about a half an hour. If you're unfamiliar with Jason Burmis, go check out his channel. He made the documentary Loose Change about 9/11, which is why we're having him on the show. But he's also done some of the most consistent and non-speculative work on Epstein out of anyone on the goddamn interwebs. So that'll be fun. That's tomorrow at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. Yeah, US UK Intel is involved in 100%. It looks to me like a standard uh, American Intel color revolution. And again, man, why? And I look, there was an untenable situation in Hong Kong. I understand that. I understand why you would want to protest over that. I can't believe we're not fucking in the street every goddamn day. It blows my mind. But why the fuck are they waving American flags? Why are we seeing it in the media? Why are we getting told in our media that this is something that we should be supportive of, or that fucking Democratic politicians and Republican politicians are supportive of? It doesn't make any sense outside of this is being sponsored by on multiple levels members of the Five Eyes. All right, I gotta go take care of some kitty cats and a hamster named Pinto. I will be back tomorrow, I'm sure, at least once before I go on with Krish. And then I have a question for you in the Action for Assange people about the utility pole semantics. Okay. At slownewsdayshow.com or catch me soonish. We're still trying to figure that out. I know that they were trying to tell Andrew that it was advertising. I don't understand how political speech is advertising, but whatever. I don't know. At any rate, this has been Slow News Day. I'm Steve Poikinen. Good luck to us all.